All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to eighth grade science. I'm very excited to have you in my class. My name is Mr. Bean, and when we get back to our classrooms, we will be in room 218. So before we begin, I just wanted to say that NTI it's weird. This is a weird time, and we're all trying to figure this out. And sometimes this might be a little frustrating, and that's okay. This is far from ideal. Obviously, we would love to be in our classrooms and be in person, but this is the best we have for the moment. We're gonna do what we can. I just wanted to quickly go over our expectations. Um, if you've been at Olmsted North for the past year or the past 2 years, you know that our school expectations are be safe, be responsible, and be respectful. In my classroom, I have one more expectation, which is be present. And so all four of these expectations we can define kind of like this, which is be safe. So practice digital citizenship, use appropriate language, be responsible. So be on time, be prepared, be respectful. So when you're in our live lessons, mute yourself when you are not speaking and dress appropriately. And finally, be present. So stay on task. Great. So hi, my name is Mr. Bean. You probably know this guy who has the same name as I do. He's a very famous movie character. We share the same name, but we're very different. I'm much younger than he is. He is much funnier than I am. So this is what I look like outside of pandemics, usually. So I studied environmental science at Yale University, and this is my fourth year teaching. I forgot to write here that I am originally from Michigan, so I am not from Louisville. Louisville's not my hometown, but so far I really enjoy living in the city. It's very beautiful. All right. So we started class today with a fun fact game. So in this game, I'm going to show you two fun facts about myself. One of them is true and one of them is false. For those watching, we'll just kind of roll through these really quickly. Fact number one: the options were I am from Michigan or I am from Kentucky. Again, your job is to guess which one is true, which one is false. This one, you should already know that A is the correct one. I already told you I'm from Michigan. And I am from a tiny little town called Omer. It only has 300 people. It's very small. There's no reason you would ever go there, or there's no reason that you should know what that town is. But it's right here, so sort of in the middle of Michigan, from bottom to top. Fact number two, which is when things get a little more interesting. Option A is I swam for 14 years, or B, I played ice hockey for 11 years. As you guess which one is correct, essentially you're asking, do I look like a swimmer or do I look like a hockey player? And the answer is I played ice hockey for 11 years. So I'm from the northern part of the United States, and that far north, ice hockey is fairly popular as a sport. So I grew up playing before quitting when I started high school. Fact number three, A is I can whistle through my teeth, and B is I play the piano and the guitar. So this one is A, I can whistle through my teeth. I do not play the piano or the guitar or any instruments, unfortunately. A whistle is like, my whistle's not super great, but I can whistle through my teeth, and it's actually quite loud. I'll do it as quietly as I can. I don't want to hurt your ears, but it's something like, yeah. So that was a whistle through my teeth. It gets much louder than that. If you see me in person, you'll have to ask me to do it for you. All right. Fact number four: A is I was a vegetarian for 3 years, or B, I grew up on a chicken farm. So for this one, A is correct again. I was a vegetarian for 3 years in college. In college, I learned about how sometimes eating a lot of meat can be bad for the environment, and um, there's nothing wrong with eating meat, of course. That's very normal for people to eat, but I kind of like vegetables, so I decided to stop eating meat for a few years. But now I eat everything. I really enjoy meat, so I'm not vegetarian anymore. But I might try again in the future. We'll see. In fact, number five, A is I lived in China for 3 years, and B is I speak 4 languages. So this last fact is it's a trick question. The answer is both. So I lived in China for 3 years. This is, like I said, this is my fourth year teaching. My first 3 years of teaching, I taught English as a second language in a high school in central China. So I taught 10th graders before this, and I speak 4 languages: English, which I'm speaking right now. I speak Spanish, I speak Italian, and I speak Chinese. My Spanish and my Italian are very rusty. I desperately need practice, but my Chinese is still pretty good. Yeah. So I hope that after playing this game, you know a little bit more about me. Obviously, we have the whole year together, so we have lots of time to get to know one another. Um, yeah. So really quickly, here's some pictures of me in China. So this is me, and these are some of my coworkers. This was this huge meal that we prepared. It was so delicious. I think about it all the time, actually. But but we were in an ancient village, and we just sat at this table and looked out over the mountain, and chickens were running around. It was just very fun, very picturesque, very beautiful. Here's a mountain that I visited. This is a family that I became pretty good friends with. I miss them very much. And finally, here's one of my classes. Yeah, I really miss these students. But but I am excited to be here and to be a teacher at Olmsted North. My classes this morning were super fun, and so I hope that I get to meet you, whoever is watching this video right now. Looking forward to meeting you soon. So anyway, I thought this fun fact game was pretty fun. So actually, it's your turn. I want you to make this game for yourself. So in Google Classroom, there is a Google form called Fun Fact Game. I want you to open up that Google form and please write one real fun fact about yourself and one fake fun fact about yourself. And what I will do is I will put these two fun facts onto um, onto like an index card, and then whenever we have extra time in this class, I'll pull the index cards and read the fun facts. And as a class, we can guess which fun fact is true about the writer. So when you're doing this activity, please be safe. So please use appropriate language and use appropriate fun facts. So you can do that by yourself. Yeah, so you can pause the video, do that really quickly, and then when you come back, we'll get started. Awesome. So the next bit that we went over in class was NTI procedures. I'm sorry, this is going to be a little boring, but we have to do it because we've never done NTI like this, and so we need to know what class is going to be like. So the first thing is logging into our lessons. So we will have live lessons twice a week. So you need to check Google Classroom every time we have a live lesson. The Google Meet link to our lessons will change every day. The Google Meet link to our lessons is at the top so it's this right here. All right, so you just click on the link and it'll take you to our live meeting. Okay, and that, like I said, that link will change every class. So every class you need to go back into Google Classroom and select the new link. The link has to change for security reasons. So, okay. The next part is we will have two kinds of classes during NTI. The first kind is synchronous. Synchronous means at the same time. So these are classes that we will have together on Google Meets. The other kind of class is asynchronous class. So these are asynchronous means at different times. So the asynchronous classes are classes we do by ourselves on our own time. So our synchronous classes will be twice a week, either Monday and Thursday or Tuesday and Friday, depending on what period you have my class. So if you are in my fifth period science class, you will have me on Monday at 11 a.m. and again on Thursday at 11 a.m. If you're in my fourth period science class, you'll have me on Tuesday at 9:30 and again on Friday at 9:30. On Wednesdays, we will have asynchronous class. So that means on Wednesday, you need to log into Google Classroom and complete the asynchronous work. The asynchronous work, it might be a survey, it might be some reading that you have to do, it might be a worksheet. I might have you answer some questions about what we're learning. This is just work that you need to do on Wednesday by yourself. We won't meet face to face. It's work that you can do totally on your own. All asynchronous work is going to be due by Thursday morning. So I know that you're in eighth grade, and I know that sometimes we like to stay up late. I like to stay up late too, so I understand. So I hope that you will do your asynchronous work during the day on Wednesday so that you can get some sleep Wednesday night. But in reality, you have all of Wednesday night to do the asynchronous work as well. You just have to have your asynchronous work turned in by the time I wake up on Thursday. So usually that'll probably be by, let's say, 7:30 a.m. Actually, we'll say 8 a.m. So just make sure that all of your work is done by 8 a.m. on Thursday mornings. All right, missing class. So if you are watching this video, you probably misclassed, and that's okay. That happens. But if you miss class, you are still responsible for the work you missed. So on the days you miss class, you can log into Google Classroom and you can watch a recording of the lesson, just like you're watching right now. They will always be available after class is over. So it is much better to go to class than it is to watch these videos. But if you have to miss, it's okay. You have this recording. You are still responsible for doing the work you missed on time. So please make sure you do your work on time. Late work. If you miss class and you have some late or missing work, you will need to fill out the late work submission form when you are finished with that work. So this submission form, it just tells me that I need to grade your late work. So it's very difficult for me to look back at all of our classes and see who turned in what late work. That's pretty difficult for me to keep track of. So if you fill out the late work submission form, you're just telling me that, hey, Mr. Bean, I did my work for this day. Will you please grade it? And then I will go and grade it. Right? This late work submission form you can find at the top in Google Classroom under coursework at the top under resources. You can find this submission form. So this is what it looks like under resources. Late work submission right here. All right. The next thing is this year, Olmsted North is we're going to participate in a really cool program called Think Circa. So Think Circa is a program that will help us develop our writing skills. And as part of Think Circa, we will spend the first 10 minutes of every class developing one of our writing skills. So the skills that we might work on could be claims, evidence, reasoning, counter-argument, or audience. So if you see that spells out Circa, the name of the program. on Wednesday, this Wednesday, you will look over a reading that goes into depth about what Circa is. So you'll get to read more about that, and then on Thursday we can talk a little bit more about Circa. Right, and starting next week we will spend the first 10 minutes of every class doing these skills. Notebooks. So scientists use notebooks to record their thoughts and observations. I was never a professional scientist, but when I studied forests and looked at the animals and the bugs that lived in them, I carried a notebook. And so in my notebook, I would write down anything I saw or anything that I wanted to remember, so that later, when I got back home and was out of the forest, I could remember what I saw and I could make conclusions about my learning. For that reason, in this class, we are also going to use notebooks to record our learning. So starting next week, not next class, it should be next week. Starting next week, please have a notebook ready so that we can use it. If you went to student registration last week, you should have a notebook in the goodie bag that you got from Olmsted North. But if you didn't go, or if you don't have a notebook, if you need help getting a notebook, please email me and I will find you a notebook. This is very important for our class and I want you to have one. Right? And then the last thing is raising your hand. So NTI, so in normal times, if you want to answer a question or ask a question, you just raise your hand in class. During NTI, I can't always see you. Sometimes you'll have your video off or I can't see all of your videos. So during NTI, if you have a question during our live meetings or you want to answer one of my questions, type a Q into the chat. So I will call on you as soon as I see the Q in the chat. This will just help us keep our classes a little more organized and a little more ordered. All right, so that is all that we have for NTI procedures. If you have any questions, please, you can leave a comment on this post in Google Classroom or you can email me. I'm happy to answer any and all of your questions. I love questions, by the way. But if you don't have any questions, then we will move on. So at the end of class, for the end of class, we are going to play a discussion game. And before we do that, I wanted to watch a quick video clip. This video clip is going to be about perhaps a typical American high school classroom. And as you watch this video, I want you to think about this question. Is the class in this video an interesting class? Why or why not?
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the Great Depression, passed the tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression. Today, we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone seen this before? The Laffer curve. Anyone know what this says? It says that at this point on the revenue curve, you will get exactly the same amount of revenue as at this point. This is very controversial. Does anyone know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980? Anyone? Something DOO economics. Voodoo economics.
So, was this an interesting class? No, it was not an interesting class. The teacher spoke in a way that was very boring. His voice was very monotone. His the material that he was teaching about was also very boring. He asked lots of questions, but he kind of answered them himself. The students were not engaged. They were not participating. They were sleeping. They were chewing gum. They were daydreaming. And so this was not an interesting class. And for our class, I promise that our class will not look like that class. Because I think that we all learn way better if we're in a fun, interesting, engaging class. But in order for our class to not look like the class in the video, I need you to participate. So I need you to speak and answer questions. Otherwise, our class will sound like this. Anyone? Anyone? And it will be very boring, right? So for the rest of class, we're actually going to practice participating. So we played a game called Plus If You Agree. And in this game, I will show you a sentence. And after I read the sentence, you will think about whether you agree with the sentence. So for 20 seconds, you're just thinking. Then I will say, plus if you agree. If you agree, send a plus to the group chat. If you disagree, send a minus. And then afterwards, we will discuss our ideas. So the expectations for this were be safe, so practice good digital citizenship. Be responsible, so be prepared to share your answers. Be respectful. Mute yourself when you're not speaking. Keep discussions positive, and be present. Be ready to send a plus or minus and share your ideas. So if you're watching this, obviously we cannot do this plus or minus, and that's okay. But I still want you to think about the sentences and think about whether you would agree and what you would say your reasoning was. So the first sentence, this is a practice. I am a student at Olmsted North, meaning you are a student at Olmsted North. So this actually isn't an opinion. This is a fact. So you have to agree. It's true. But the others are more their opinions, and you can agree and disagree. So the first one that we talked about was talent is more important than hard work. Do you agree? Why or why not? So pause the video and think about that one for a little bit. The second one that we talked about is all people are born good. Do you agree? Why or why not? Again, pause the video. And the third one is technology is more harmful than beneficial for society. So harmful is another way of saying bad, and beneficial is another way of saying good. So this means that technology is it's kind of bad. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Why or why not? And one last time, pause the video before you move on. So think about this question. Right, and then lastly, so after that game, you practice participating and sharing what you think. In class, every single person said what they thought, and it was very good to hear your thoughts. We can't be in a classroom this year, and so I cannot see what you're thinking. I cannot read your mind. Instead, I have to hear your voice. And so hearing your thoughts in class was really great. So anyway, the exit tip for today before we head out is, what are some ways you can participate in this class? So this exit slip is in Google Classroom under week 1. It's called 08-25-20 exit slip. Or depending on what class you're in, it might be called 08-27-20 exit slip. Just to answer the question, what are some ways you can participate in this class? Please write at least 2 ways you can participate. So pause the video for a few minutes while you do that. Great. And then anyway, so that's all that there was for class today. I just wanted to reiterate that NTI is going to be weird. It's not going to be what we're used to, but we're going to make the best of it. So I am looking forward to seeing you on our live lessons, which are, again, twice a week. And I think that will help us all feel a little more sane and help us not feel discouraged. And remember that tomorrow you will have, or on Wednesday, you will have asynchronous work. So that is work that you will need to do by yourself. And other than that, I hope you have a great day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. All right. Bye.